Hello, everybody, and welcome to Taking Control, the ADHD podcast on rashpixel.fm. I'm Pete Wright, and I'm here with Nikki Kinzer.
Hello, Pete Wright. Hello, everyone.
Oh, Nikki. Wow.
It's August.
It's been too long. It's August. Hallelujah. Huzzah. We're back after a wonderful break, and we're excited to be podcasting again. And getting the ball rolling. We've got a lot of great topics that are coming up in the schedule. Can't wait to get going. How was your holiday month?
Busy. It wasn't exactly what I had in mind, but it's been great, and it's been filled with lots of great conversations and insights and aha moments. And I have a couple of wonderful groups that I'm working with right now. And so, yeah, it's been good. It's been great. It just wasn't exactly what I had planned, but that's okay. I'm all right with that.
That's
awesome. Because when do things ever go as planned?
No,
really.
They don't.
I mean,
they don't ever go as planned. Actually, we have a lot to talk about today, and a lot of my things are related to what we're talking about today, and that is routines.
Yes.
And building new routines. We're back. We're starting some new things ourselves. We're excited to do that. So here we go. Before we get started, head over to takecontroladhd.com. Get to know us a bit better. You can listen to the show right there on the website or subscribe to our mailing list right there on the homepage and get an email with the latest episode each week. You can connect with us on Twitter or Facebook at TakeControlADHD. And if you appreciate what we have here in our archives of 350 other podcasts that you can access over on the website, we encourage you to head over to patreon.com/the ADHD podcast. It is there through direct member support that we're able to continue to offer all these past episodes for you and others to explore when you need it. You're supporting the community by helping us support the community too. Pay it forward at patreon.com/the ADHD podcast. Thank you to everyone who has supported us already. Okay, we have a couple of announcements. Fall group coaching enrollment is coming soon. And how do I know that? Because it's on my list to do for the website.
Yes.
I'm going to make that a real thing.
Yay. So right now you're on the waiting list. But soon it will be open for enrollment. But if you are interested in the fall coaching groups, get onto the website and you can put your name in the waiting list, and I will get back to you once we have all of the details. And that site is up that Pete's going to be working on, or the page.
Yes, the page. It's a little form. I got a form to do.
Just an update of the form. Yeah.
That's right.
But fall sessions will begin the week after Labor Day. So it starts on Monday, September 10th. It will be that week. And I'm offering a couple of different times. And last summer session, which I'm still in right now, we had a great turnout, and it's been a great summer talking with these folks. So if you are interested in fall group coaching, I highly recommend that you get onto the waiting list quickly, because it will probably fill up. Which is
great, because that means you'll be in a nice, robust group with lots of different kinds of thinkers, and that helps us all. So the other is school is coming up for so many people. Actually, in Arizona, it starts next week, something crazy.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people start in August and they go to May, and then some people start in September and go to June. So just a quick reminder for people out there. I know that a lot of you know I do ADHD coaching for adults, but you may not know that I do ADHD coaching for college students as well. So this could be a young adult who's just starting college for the first time, or somebody that's maybe been in college for a couple of years, but now that they're getting into their major, it's a little bit more of a struggle where they may need some coaching. But I also do a lot of coaching with adults who are going back to school for different degrees and such. So if you are interested in my college coaching services, definitely send me an email or get onto the website, and you can see that there's a whole page there about what college coaching is. So I just wanted people to know that.
Consider yourself in the know.
In the know.
Okay. All right, Nikki, here we go.
Yes.
Creating routines. Now, we have talked about routines before. We've talked about routines. They are a central part to living a healthy life with ADHD. You wanted to kick off our new summer fall season
with routines.
Yes. Why did this come up? Is this something that's been hot on people's minds this summer?
It's hot on people's minds. And even though you talk about it, I think it's something that it's a discussion that just needs to be talked about over and over again, because it's not something that you just create a routine and then all of a sudden your life is always following that routine. It just doesn't happen. And I think it's a good time because we are transitioning from summer to fall. In the next month, I mean, we're not, this isn't something that's happening right away, but as people are going back to school or people are changing their schedules from, summer to fall, whatever. I mean, it just feels like a good time. Plus it's something that has come up in my coaching groups. And then again, I think it's one of those things that it's just a conversation you can't really overdo. There's just a lot to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where
I think from. So. I mean, regular listeners know that I've constantly struggled with my routines around food and things that I take seriously, and the issues that I have around eating, and how frustrating it can be for me and the idiot monkey that rides around on my back telling me to make bad decisions. Right?
I have that monkey. We have the same monkey.
He is a terrible monkey. Terrible monkey. So for me, this summer has been, this last month has been one of trying to get that monkey off my back and change those habits and routines. And it has been rewarding, but in some cases paralyzingly difficult to do, particularly because I think of the ADHD, issues that are, kind of riding on the monkey's back. I had a trip to visit a friend in Arizona, and I treated myself terribly in Arizona. It was the worst. And I came back saying, I'm just sick. I've eaten myself sick and I need to get healthy again. And so I started with a fast. I needed something that is sort of the nuclear option, right? And so I did a week-long fast where I didn't eat anything. And it turns out that was what it took to help give me the boost and the stamina, at least the momentum, to create some new routines. It is the clean slate that of getting rid of the sugar addiction and the sort of yeast addiction that I had sort of coursing through me that allowed me to create something new. And I'm still only 3 weeks into it, but I think that's worth acknowledging. For me, that's the big lesson. And I think it applies not just to my issues with creating routines around eating, but that clean slate habit is something that really, or that clean slate starting point is a really important thing for me to create, to be able to create a nest to grow something new.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because I'm seeing a connection here that, that self-care. And so you're revamping your nutrition and some of that routine. And I was talking to somebody recently who, when we first started talking, she was saying, I'm having a really hard time sticking to my routines. I'm having a hard time. I think this is a time management issue. How do I get myself to stick to what I say I'm going to do and all of that? And when we were in the conversation, what I've learned was that when she was doing her health things, like she was getting enough sleep, she was exercising every day, she had a health or like an eating plan that she was doing, she felt great, she felt energized, she was getting stuff done, she was able to stay on task. So but now those things had kind of faltered away, and so she was feeling stuck. And so when I'm hearing your story and I think about her story, I'm thinking, gosh, there is a very real connection between how we take care of ourselves and how that affects your ADHD in your daily life.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't echo that enough. And I'm constantly surprised. I'm surprised on two levels. First, I'm constantly surprised the connection between physical health and emotional well-being, right? I operate better. I'm generally a clearer thinker. I'm a better speaker when I'm eating well and drinking enough water and all those things. The second level of surprise is I learned this lesson again and again and again, and it surprises me that I am still so stinking surprised. Yeah. This is not news. And I have to learn it over and over and over again, and just keep trying new things until it sticks.
But what's so interesting about that is, so going back to the conversation that I had, what we found is that it wasn't so much a time management issue, because she knew how to create a routine, which is what we're going to eventually talk about here. And she had all the systems in place as far as her to-do list and everything. But it was how she embraced the unexpected. So it was really interesting. Like, when you and I did a talk for a telesummit for Lori Dupar's ADHD telesummit, and we talked about that. When your to-do list goes awry, how do you not self-sabotage yourself? And I think that a lot of the lessons that we were talking about in that context is the same here. When the routine doesn't stick, or there's a few days that it goes away, how do we not necessarily change the routine, because the routine is fine? How do we just be kinder to ourselves and get back? Because like you said, you know the truth. I think it's one of those tricks, right? That I mentioned the clean slate behavior, right? When you have a routine and you let the routine go, sometimes for a day, sometimes for a couple of days without getting back to it, you are unintentionally and subconsciously creating a new clean slate, right? Yeah. You are building room for a new routine to take over. And that routine may not be a healthy one. And I think that's a really important thing for me to keep in my head, that when I'm making a choice between doing something right for my body, for my health, and doing something, wrong, if I choose one of those paths, is making an explicit choice about the other. Yeah, right. If I choose to eat a bag of chips, I'm making a choice about my health routine. And I'm making it, it's not all or nothing. There's no zero sum here, but eventually that's going to catch up with me if I don't keep it more front of mind and take a more active role in it. Yeah. And it's not just about reminders, right? I can create the alerts in the world. I can also ignore them. You bet. Right? That's the important part, right? Well, and I think you have to go back to what you said. It's a choice. We can't get into the habit or the thought process of feeling like we don't have a choice, because then we lose our power. Then we're no longer empowered. And it's like, I had a bag of chips yesterday and then I had grapes afterwards. And I'm thinking I probably should have had the grapes and not the chips. But I have to own, I made the choice.
You made the choice. Yeah.
So today at lunch, I'm having grapes, no chips, just because of this conversation. I'm making that choice. I'm saying it out loud. Everybody can keep me accountable for this.
So we'll say you're welcome on behalf of the ADHD podcast. Yes. You're welcome, Nikki Kinzer.
Yes, you just reminded me
not to eat chips. Let's talk a little bit about
chips.
Creating routines in ADHD. Can we? Can we move into that?
Yeah,
you have things to say.
We started we haven't been together for a while, so we started deep. We went right
we go
in.
hard. Let's go hard. Yeah, no, yeah, this is good. It's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Routines. It's an interesting relationship with people with ADHD, isn't it? Because I hear a lot of push and pull. I want a routine. I want structure in my life, but then I really don't. You can't tell me what to do. I don't want to be told what to do, even if it's coming from you, myself. And so there's a lot of push and pull. We know that they're good for us, but we resist them anyway. We want some structure, but we don't want too much structure. And so there's just this balance. How do you find that balance? And so
there it is again. It's Bobo the ADHD monkey. That's what he is. We need a little icon.
Yes. Bobo?
We need a widget and some action figures of Bobo the ADHD monkey.
I like that. That's funny.
That's what his name is. The push and pull monkey.
The push and pull.
Totally.
Yes, it's terrible. So let's talk about what a routine is. I know this seems sort of elementary, but I think it's important that we just really define what we're talking about. You and I talk about systems all the time. I mean, it's in our marketing material, Pete and Nikki talk about ADHD symptoms, or not symptoms, systems. And we talk about symptoms. We do it all. But we talk about systems, and then sometimes it's like, well, what is this? And it really is a routine. It's really a kind of a step-by-step process of how to get something done, how to get out of the door on time. We have a morning routine. How do we try to make sure that we get into bed at a decent hour? We create some kind of evening routine. You're creating like a health and diet, exercise routine. I mean, we have them all over the place. We have them in our work. We have them in our home. If you have children, you probably have routines for your children. So they're all over. And
those routines define all of your other routines.
They really do. I mean, yeah, they just do. So if you think about what makes these routines important, especially for ADHD, is that they do help you stay focused. They do help you stay on task. They help you get the things done that you need to. If you are following some kind of like checklist, then you're not forgetting anything because you are, it's already all laid out. So you don't have to trust your memory. And again, hopefully you're following through, to the end. And there was been a couple of people talking to me about something that they learned in the telesummit recently, that there's a beginning, middle, and end to things, and really recognizing, what that beginning is, what that middle is, and what the end of the routine is. That could be in anything, but this is how I'm using it. But then there's also this limiting belief that I hear so many clients carry around, and that is, I'm not consistent. Routines don't work for me. I do it for a week, and then they go away. And, then I need a new routine, or they just don't believe that they can do it. And so this is tough because with the way your brain is wired with ADHD, your routines can become stale in the sense that maybe you do lose interest in them. You're bored with them. Yeah. You get distracted in the middle, so you don't finish, or you forget about them because the reminders, as you mentioned, you can have all the reminders in the world, but if you are ignoring them, then you're going to forget about doing the routine as well. So there's a lot of out of sight, out of mind if you're not paying attention to these things. So what I like to try to spread the message around is redefining what your definition of success is with the routine, and not have consistency be the measurement.
Oh, that's really interesting. Let's talk more about that, because it's something that I think I've been plagued with too, which is this idea that I'm measuring myself on how much of a long-term objective or a long-term commitment I can make to a single routine. Right. Even if I tweak the routine in the process, the consistency is always in the back of my head as the central sort of guiding post.
Right.
What else should I be measuring on?
Well, I think you need to be measuring more on when you did follow the routine, how did it make you feel at the end of the day? Did the day go better for you? Were you more in control? Did you feel more in control of your emotions, your time? Did you feel more productive? Did you get things done? Were you just happier? And, I think that so much of our message all the time, and it was interesting because somebody had mentioned this in one of my groups, and I thought, it's true. He was saying that, as a coach, you work more on how to get things done, and you work on, people getting through their planners and planning and all that. But my point isn't just to always make you the most productive, right? Yeah. I mean, right. I know that that's a big part of what we talk about in strategies, but it's also about, progress and feeling good about the process, and accepting your ADHD and accepting who you are. And so it's just, I guess what my point is it's not always just about getting things done. It's how you feel. And, right. I think that you had a really good testament at the beginning when you said, I know in the last couple of weeks, I'm feeling better.
Yes.
And I think that's the key, is that, yes, we want to be consistent. I mean, that is a goal. I mean, I'm not saying that we throw it out the window at all. But what I want people to relax a little bit on is that that's not the only measurement of your success, that you could have a very strong routine. You go off of it for a while, but you can still get back on it. Tomorrow is still another opportunity. You still have the road ahead of you. Does it suck because you know you've been down this road many times? Yes, absolutely. But it's also not worth giving up, because if you gave up on it, then you would always feel bad.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you'd feel terrible when you get out of the bed in the morning. And that's sort of my challenge, and you remember it, but one of the things I've been doing, apart from the week-long fast I did, again, for routine, is not eating on Monday and Thursday.
Right.
And this sort of intermittent fasting was great for me when I started, and then I started to game it. The idea is you don't eat during these 2 days, and then you eat normally on the other days. And when I started, I was feeling great. I was doing the right stuff. I was eating the right stuff. It was all great. And then the gamesmanship starts when I start, I'll fast on Monday, and then Tuesday I eat like crazy. Yeah. I eat all the crap. All the great crap. So much more of the great crap than I ever would have eaten if I just done it right. But when I was doing it right, I was feeling better. I was feeling good. I was happy. I was stronger. My best days were the days that I wasn't eating. I wasn't dependent on the food. And so that's how it's insidious. Routines can change sort of insidiously. The habits, they change slowly over time, and sometimes you don't even know it's happening.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that, what you're explaining are the benefits, and that's something that we always have to remember too. When you're asking how else can I, measure my success, are these benefits. It's like when you do these things, you're getting something really good. When you don't do these things, you're getting something really bad. And motivation is important, with ADD. You have to have some motivation. You have to have a why. You have to have what makes this matter to you. But internal motivation isn't always enough. In fact, for a lot of ADDers, it's not. And so that's where the external motivation needs to come in, whether that's an accountability partner, a trainer, a coach, an accountability group, a Chad group that you see every month, but something to kind of help you so you're not by yourself. Because routines are not, they change and they're not easy to develop either. You need that extra support, especially at the beginning. But I guess too, what I want to say, and I say this to myself every day, so this is why I feel really passionate about it, is just give yourself grace. Like, I kudos to you, Pete, for actually, doing this. Like, you actually have taken action to get your health back in control. I've been so busy this summer. That's been my biggest excuse. I'm busy. I'm working all the time. I can't do this. And the only thing that gets me through is that I just am kind to myself and I say, okay, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep paying attention to this. This is still important to me. Whatever good choices I make tomorrow matter. And not give up on myself or give up on the goals that I have for my health. Right? So it's like kind of trying to keep it positive, even though I'm not following any kind of routine right now.
Yeah. Right.
So.
But there are others, right? And that's the thing I have to keep telling myself. There are things that I have done that are good for me and healthy and strong. And, like you say, I really love the idea that consistency is not the singular measure of success. I need to keep that at the forefront. These things come when they need to come.
I also wanted to point out that you don't need a routine for every single thing in your life.
Oh, that's true.
It's true. So, really, I think that this gets to the heart of some of my coaching conversations is, what is the purpose of the routine that you're creating? Really, what is it that you're trying to do? Is it to be on time? Is it to make sure that your kids are on the bus on time? Like, what is the point? And then really brainstorming what needs to be in that routine and trying to keep it simple and not overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
So if you want something to stick, you got to really make it simple and purposeful. So that you are more likely to do it. So you don't have to put all of your needs and wants into your checklist. Just put the needs, the absolute things that need to get done that day that are in your routine. So it could just be showering, eating, feeding the dog, getting dressed and out the door, right? Bare minimum. Now, if you want to make your lunch, that's great. If you want to watch the news, that's great. Only if you have time to do it. That's what my point is, just to keep it simple and keep it to something that's easier for you to keep up, because it's not so overwhelming.
I was surveying Twitter the other day, and somebody had mentioned that for the first time in their lives, they started doing a work analysis of their own day. And so they took one day to document every step that they make of everything that they do, every process, every email they check for customer support, whatever it is. They come in, they sit down in their cube, and they start writing down a log of what they do. And basic timestamps, so they just get a sense of how long it takes them to do the things they do. And I really like that. It's been a long time since I've done it. I feel like I've got so much rote, but I feel like that the act of documenting what it is that you need to do, what it is that you do, what it is that you want to do, probably is a good place to start as any. For building a new important routine.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because that didn't even that's so insightful, because that didn't even cross my mind.
It was unintentional insight, Nikki, I promise.
I love that. This is good. This is why we do this podcast together, because I would have missed this part. Time tracking, that you're talking about time tracking. And this is something that I actually have in my time management course. The very first exercise they do is they track their time, and they do it. And I ask people to do it actually more than just one day. I think you got to do at least like 3 days, because day to day things just change. But what you're doing is exactly what you said, is you're collecting data about what you do during the day. What are your normal habits? What are your patterns? What do you see? What are your distractions? That's a big one. So if people can really document like what is distracting them, because most often a lot of that we can't eliminate. Some of it we can't. Right. I mean, absolutely some of it we can't. But then with that, we have to add buffer time and into our routines and our daily schedule, because we have to know that the unexpected is going to happen. And again, going back to our talk, when the unexpected happens, how do you not go into a spiral? Oh my gosh, there's so much stuff we could talk about.
I know. We've got a long year ahead. We could just
go on and on and on.
I think this is also another good start. And as I've been, I think about the number of times I run into people who tell me, oh gosh, I think of what you're doing with you changing your routine around your food. I really need to get back on a diet. I really need to get back onto this. I really need to get back doing that. I really need to get back into fitness. I really need to get back into tracking my time, whatever it is. Yeah. I find this whole conversation really sort of uplifting and gives me a real sense of hope and optimism that, it's okay. I have to practice more than anything else, more than any other practice. I have to practice forgiveness of myself, to give myself a break.
And it's a journey.
I had a little bit of a fall. I can come back.
I think that some of these things, going back to that thought process of there's a beginning, the middle, and an end. When it comes to like health routines, when it comes to something that is ongoing, there is no end, in my opinion. You have to keep going, because if you get to a point where, I've lost 50 pounds, we've talked about this before. Now I'm done. I'm going to go back to my eating ways. Well, guess what? You gain back the 50 pounds faster and more.
Hallelujah. That's right.
So,
and apply that, like we're talking a lot about fitness and weight, but apply that to any context. Any context.
You bet.
And you will, you'll see that parallel. I really think it applies.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have brought up an idea for me. We do have a habit tracker worksheet that we could give to listeners. And we also have that time tracker that we have to give to listeners. So what we need to do, Pete and I, is we need to tweak it a little bit so that we can put it into our notes, the show notes, and then people can have access to those. Check it out. See if it works for you or not.
Give it a shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Thank you, everybody, for downloading and listening to this show. We sure appreciate your time and attention, and we wish you the best on your journey to build some new routines, and hope that some of the resources in here and our new checklists, our updated checklists, will help you on your way. Also, don't forget, patreon.com/the ADHD podcast. Check it out. If you like what you've seen and heard, check it out. Support us and access some other cool resources that we continue to build. Thank you, everybody. On behalf of Nikki Kinzer, I'm Pete Wright, and we'll catch you next time right here on Taking Control, the ADHD podcast.